3 that we've done. So my hope is that the message around just the resignation of the city manager and the circumstance that is very well known. This was something that was very important to both Nathan and I, that we made ourselves available. So this week, this is the 3rd coffee that we've had. It's also one where we and start looking at Saturday as a time. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it to stagger back and forth between Friday mornings and Saturday mornings. This is meant to be able to provide a time that young professionals that cannot meet at 9 o'clock on Friday would have the ability. And if you're a person in that demographic, I would really like to know is if this is a good time, if you're on live streaming it, or if you're, the things along that line, because we're really wanting to make sure we reach out to as many people as possible. The other thing is this, Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week, I should. So I know a lot of people are there, which is one of the topics I'll mention is we had set aside September 20th as a special meeting to hopefully have interviews with candidates for position 6. I keep doing that, don't I? I don't know why. I did that last time too. September. I got September on my mind. So let me repeat that. November. I probably said November. You just
no. I think you said September.
It's all me. All on me. But for this Monday, problem is 4 of the 6 candidates cannot be available. So we're going to be talking about exactly how we do it, because there's not a really good answer to how we get everybody together. And I'm hoping it's going to be a short one. It'll probably be more executive session than in open session. But at the end of the day, we've got till December 8th from the November 8th time where this opened up, and and there's obviously going to be more to come. I don't know if there were any questions. Let me open that up beforehand. I can go over some of the things in the last meeting on the 13th, which was our regularly scheduled city hall or city council meeting. And
I want to ask a question just so we can get it off at the beginning. But so we had our Parks and Recreation Committee meeting on Wednesday night. One of the things we came up with, unfortunately, and we've been talking about it for a little while. Nancy and some other people were going to come, but vacations and stuff like that. In any event, we are planning on the December 6th normal parks meeting to be the wreath decorating class with gingerbread cookies and coffee, and then afterwards lighting the tree with the mayor. Out in the Howard Ward Park, but we're going to go like caroling and then we'll light the tree and then go caroling.
So let me stop you there, because I want to mention that's something that's being started, again from a lapse. It's just Christmas caroling.
Yeah, that was
I really think that's cool. If people are there, I've been known to sing a little bit, so let me find out what's there. So I think it'd be fun. So I think it'd be a lot of fun.
So the way I put it up on the Discover Nassau Bay, my little Nassau Bay group, but I was hoping Nathan could get it put up on the city website, so people can sign up. If you're from Nassau Bay, it's going to be free. If you're outside Nassau Bay, we're going to ask for $10 for the supplies that we're going to be providing. And the people on the Parks and Rec Committee are going to be helping out. It's kid friendly. So you want to bring your kids also, we're going to make it kid friendly. And it'll be like from 6 to 7, we do the wreaths, then we'll go over and put on the lights and then go caroling afterwards.
Get some of that good apple cider.
Oh, apple cider too. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, the good apple cider.
I didn't think about that. It's hot spice, really good apple cider. Let me make sure that's on the list. Hi. Oh wait, we got some people here that might want to hear that.
Come on in.
We were just talking about the wreath decorating that we're doing as part of a city event on December the 6th.
Okay.
And trying to get it's kid friendly. So if you want to bring kids, we're going to light up the tree and then do caroling after that.
Yeah.
And we'll have
apple cider.
So far we're having hot apple cider from the mayor's request, and we're going to have a hot cocoa and some gingerbread cookies. And
some know it as Apple Jack.
Applejack. Right.
Did I just say that?
Don't rule out the Wall Street.
So,
That's right.
with a little.
Like a little.
And then another project that
Ooh
we,
la la.
another project that Parks and Rec and Keep Nassau Bay Beautiful was been working on for over a year was we want to put up those old fashioned lights on the medians coming into Nassau Bay, like Nassau Bay Drive. We're gonna have 4 of them, and Point Lookout, we're gonna have 5 of them, the
Yeah.
old fashioned
We
white
walked
lights.
it, we walked it yesterday.
With the,
so.
we walked it yesterday with the solar lamps on top. It's more for looks than really light. It's just gonna be like that ambiance of now old Nassau Bay coming back. Down Upper Bay, we put one in Swan Lagoon and one in Bell Harbor.
Mhm.
And I was gonna ask Nathan if he knows when those are gonna go in, because we wanna put the wreaths on them with the big red bow, so you have that, every year we wanna decorate them, so we have a little Christmas coming in. I've been asked that so many times.
No, they were ordered. I don't know when they're going in, but I'll find out.
Okay, that'd be great.
So you're saying like a street lamp?
Yeah, it's like, I
Yeah.
don't, if you're old school Nassau Bay, we used to have these old fashioned white
The white
street
ones.
lamps everywhere, and they tore them down
So
when they,
we
did the-
believe we can get 15 of them, and the dates that I've heard is by December 2nd. I believe they're gonna get 14 or 15 of them in next week. And that would allow us, I think, I heard from Paul, he said that next week he's already got the contractors lined up to dig the holes and pour the concrete so these are ones that are not going to be powered by wired electricity, they're all gonna be solar. And if you want to get a good idea, these are actually a little bit better than the ones that are in front of Queens Court on Point Lookout, but they're radically similar to all the ones that got pulled out because they were so old and in bad shape. And we kind of put lamps for street lights. Well, Parks and Recreation has been proposed, and I thought it was a good idea, that we take and focus on the entryways coming into Nassau Bay. So you'll see on Nassau Bay Drive, Point Lookout, Upper Bay Road, Swan Lagoon, and Bell Harbor, at least one, if not multiple lights that we're going to light up. And I believe they want to put wreaths on them, but it'll give that kind of ambiance back for at least the beginning, and then we can see where we go with that. What's amazing is that the economics of not having wired poles, having it solar, is less than $350 a pole, and these are aluminum poles and things along that line, which is just fantastic. That opens up a lot of avenues of things that we can do affordable, and that came out of the Parks Group. So,
And we'll get the December 6th event
Yep.
posted.
You get okay, that'd be
We'll
great if
get
you
it.
could post the little sign up for
Okay.
people to sign up, so we know how many supplies to order. It was
Okay.
like a little sign up genius that people could link to, so we'll know how many supplies to order. But that's we're trying to do more. It was always parks, but now we're trying to do, everybody's saying, you want to do Parks and Recreation. So it's kind of another recreation type event that we're gonna do.
So I see there's some new faces, which is great. Does this, just for the people here, does this time frame, this 10 o'clock on Saturday, work better than 9 o'clock on Friday?
Oh, for sure.
I would think is it?
I wouldn't be able to make it on 9 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah, see, that's why we're doing this. So
No, I
I
think this is
really
great.
appreciate your being here and the comments. So let me just go over a couple of things, Council, because there was, as much as there was around the resignation of the city manager and also Michelle moving on to a job rather than being on council. There were some really significant things that we passed on the 13th. I'm just going to some of the big ones, which is we on council agreed to work with a group that aggregates small cities in regards to pricing for energy from Centerpoint. And what it means is that their price increase announcement, which was very significant, postponed until we negotiate as an aggregate group with Centerpoint Gas. So that helps us. And at the end of the day, we are a 5,000 or so city of residents that, when you start talking about our leverage and our economies of scale to negotiate beneficial contracts, we've got very, very little leverage there. So by aggregating with other people, welcome. it really helps make sure that we don't get taken advantage of as a small city. So we passed that, and we are being a part of that. And so no price increase is going to be there. Is it 4 months?
We have 90 days.
90
It
days,
was
3
gonna
months.
take effect December 4th, but this suspended that. So we'll be working with our consultants in the other cities for the next 3 months to figure out what's right.
Perfect. The next one is one I'm just really pleased about. We approved the intention to raise $4 million through certificate of obligations. They are not bonds, but they're like bonds. I want to make sure that because bonds means we'd have to do something procedurally. These are certificate of obligations. But one of the things that this council and specifically is I really want us to completely finish the infrastructure work for our water distribution system, as well as the public safety issues about having low pressure in our water system for fire prevention or response. This passed unanimously at council. And one of the things I'm really pleased about is this is being done out of our water and sewer fund rather than general fund. And for the people here who we talk about this regularly at council and also at these coffees, is your property taxes are in the general fund, which is meant for the operation of the city. Water and sewer is for our infrastructure, all the pipes and stuff like that underneath. And this is a capital project for our water and sewer. So the funds necessary to do this were actually generated by our water rates. And this council, when particularly 2 years ago, I guess it's 2.5, about 2 years ago, really looked at our water rates, and we found that we were subsidizing our large commercial users. So we actually elevated and say we quadrupled our water rates to the large consumers, and we did not pass that along to our residentials. Our view was the residents have paid their fair share. The size of our water treatment system is based off the real large producers anyways. We got to replace it. They should pay their fair share, which is what they're now doing. So you did not see a tax increase on your property values or a revenue increase on the water and sewer, because we had the ability to differentiate that to just a certain set of folks. And that's creating, like I just said, $4 million. And if you really take a step back with it we've done, this council has committed between last year, this year, and next year, it'll aggregate to about $20 million of capital improvements to the city without tax increases to our citizens, based off our ability to leverage this through water and sewer. And I believe we are the first city this. We were at the Texas Municipal League, and they were just rolling out, hey, everybody, you should look at your water as a resource fund. We looked at it as it needs to be a standalone, and we've already completed 6 linear miles of replacement under the city, between 4 million, 2 million for sanitary sewers. And not a real sexy thing to talk about, underground pipes, but the way I look at it is our system was put in the late 60s, early 70s. It's 50, 60 years old. You see particularly during the summer months on the water system, Old Faithful's kicking off. Well, we replaced 4 miles of that, and none of the new stuff broke, so it's still the old. And this next one will be another 4 linear miles that'll be completed. So we'll have a total of 8 linear miles of water distribution, and I believe it's going to take the most vulnerable areas that are. And I've said this to others, and I apologize for repeating, but our system was kind of concrete and metal, and a lot of that has rusted or corroded. Those lines are already broken. They only find their way when the pressure gets enough to push through the 8 feet of dirt. And we have about 1% water loss. So we're really trying to fix all this. So at the end of the day, we have to buy that water from the Southeast Water Purification Plant. So if we can lower the amount of buy and still have the demand the same, we're all better off financially. So that's the intent. We get out of the, having to shut off on an emergency basis people's homes. You have a pipe bust, you got to shut it off. I mean, this last one on Upper Bay Road, we had to shut down the whole Sapphire Apartments for like a day and a half. And yeah, so that people think the only disruption is the water and the flood. Homes get their water shut off, and depending on how fast we can get to it and clip off, and some of these pipes are in really bad shape. That's why we're replacing it. And I'm really pleased. Just if I take a step back, we're replacing the exclusive line we get, water purification plant that runs down from Highway 3 to our city. It's our pipe. We're responsible. It has to be replaced. The rating that we get from ISO relative to our capabilities to fight fire was we passed a criteria by the skin on our chinny chin chin. We have what's called a rating number 2, which is the second highest. It goes from 1 to 7, I believe. But every level you go up means that it's about another $300 a year per household to insure your house, because the insurance companies look at that and they say, if you don't have the capability to fight fire, there will be more property damage. More property damage means you need higher insurance rates in order to cover that. So that rating is super important, and we made it just barely. And it was for 2 reasons. It was water pressure. The amount of water through our fire hydrants was just really mediocre. And we have a project here that's being done, scoping out right now, where we're replacing the header from Upper Bay Road all the way out to the Hilton. We're not only replacing it, we're going from an 8-inch line to a 12, and that's going to probably provide about 30% more water to our overall grid. So what that means for citizens is that, one, sometimes you may be a little bit upset at the amount of pressure in you coming out of your sink. Well, that's going to be a little bit more. So pressures at showers, pressure. But the big thing is that the pressure in our fire hydrants are going to go up, which is going to satisfy and put up there where we will not get dinged for that in 5 years when they audit us again. And that wasn't on the air, but the other is that this budget that we put together also funding for a new ladder truck. We got the 2 things we got dinged on in this insurance audit was not enough pressure in our system, and because we've had a large number of homes elevated, 90 of them, if the one that just got approved go through, as to this, we got the Moody's, we've got some big buildings that if we didn't have our own ladder truck, that again there would be exposure to property damage. So this budget incorporates the capitalization of us to get a ladder truck, so that they're going to order that, and you may have better knowledge of when that's going to put a PO down.
Yeah, the PO's anytime now. It's going to take a while to actually receive it.
Yeah, it's going to take they're going to take three to 4 years to build these things. I mean, we've had an ambulance that we're going to get in February that we actually put the PO down 2 years ago. So this fire truck is 3-4 years. So I like that, because we're going to get an audit in 5 years. They're very specific in their times, so getting something built, they're not real specific on their times. So it's usually going to be later rather than sooner. And that's why we want to get this done, is because we want to have that truck here when the next, also it just makes it safer for our guys, that they, to go up on top of roofs and try to get in and do things without the ladder puts them in harm's way. And we've got the best volunteer fire department in the region by no questions. I mean, I'm not doing it just because I'm biased. All the statistics is we are a volunteer fire department in the region, and they do a great job. So that's those are, again, it's going to be $4 million that we get to spend over the next 18 months, which is just great. people may have heard that, we are moving our former city man, Chris Reed's plaque in honor of Chris Reed. Chris Reed was a city manager here. I forget the actual dates, but I think it was like 2008 to 2014 or something along that line. But he died tragically in a boating accident. And, from that standpoint, we put up a plaque and it was put down by the dog park. Problem is that there was a very vicious dog attack of one of his dogs to a very long-standing family. So we've made the decision, and it really has helped reconcile those two families, that we're moving the plaque from the dog park, and we're actually putting it right out here in the town center. Chris Reed at that time was very instrumental in doing two things: helping finish the commercial redevelopment of what we call our town center. And town center, if you really look at it, is right in front of the Courtyard Hilton. There's those circles that are up there. There's a water fountain. The Courtyard.
Said Hilton.
God, I can't believe lots going on with me, guys. So I'm moving in blinding speed. Courtyard Marriott. In any event, we're moving it up to a very, very much visible, taking it, away from the dog park, and we're putting it up where it will be symmetrically placed, like how we have the fallen officers. If you go out and if you're looking at the Marriott, on the left, on that circle, very far to the left, there's a flower bed that's a circular brick flower bed that has the memorial for Kayla Sullivan, who died in the line of duty here, Sergeant Kayla. And we have a memorial honoring any fallen responders. Hopefully, she will be the only one. But on the other side, in the exact same location, like mirror image, there's another one here. There's like 6 saga palms in it. The Reed family wants to put it right there because it'll be looking at City Hall. It'll be right there in the town center, which he was helping. He was very helpful in doing the development, as well as that's where they put the stage for the street eats, if that we have. So he'll be right there listening to the music as we do the street eats, which has really made the families happy. So it's worked out very, very well. And not only that, it's given us a reason to initiate another street eats. So be prepared. We're probably going to have another city outing where we all can get together and have some juice and cookies, or apple cider, or beer and wine, my preference. So that's what we're going to do. Then the other is, you'll notice a change to the big park, David Braun Park. We've already put in the infrastructure. There's a pathway that goes from the turnaround that goes, by the animal shelter, wastewater treatment plant, circles around, gets all the way up to the ballpark, and then it comes back down to by the pickleball courts and to the pavilion. It has been widened, and a new concrete path has been put in, so that it'll allow ADA access. What that really means is a golf cart can go on there, while pedestrians, we're going to paint a pedestrian side and a golf cart, so that families that are trying to get to the ballpark will be able to drive all the way through there. The real big advantage, and it's been really what's driven this, is a number of grandparents can now take their grandkids to the playground equipment, or come see them play at the ball. So it's really been for that demographic, even though it's for everybody. But it's also something we just made a decision that as we renovate or put in the parks, we want to make it ADA compliant. So the most recent Swan Lagoon playground equipment that was put in over there actually has ADA access, as well as an ADA merry-go-round, so that if somebody's in a wheelchair as a child, can actually be in there, and it'll still be, they can participate. So we're really trying to do, ADA compliant access in our parks. What else? What else? Here's another good one is the increase of the funding for our police department, specifically geared to pay for the ordnance or the ammunition that our police officers utilize to practice. We provide, all the, safety equipment, gun, and and provide everything for their initial certification to keep up with that.
Yeah.
But we said for them to practice on their own or do anything like that, that was out of their pocket. So what we did is, and I'll give James Abbey credit for this. James was one who discovered that that would just be the normal monthly things where the guys go out to the range and shoot. That came out of their pocket. And to me, when I heard this with James, I thought this was a great idea, because if there's, I get it that you do the things for certification, but the part that really is police force comfortable with the use of a firearm is practice, practice, practice. And they will not practice as much as it comes out of their pocket. So we put a cap to the amount, and it's about $16,000 a year for the total police force in order to buy them practice ammunition. And I think that's going to have benefits we will never know, but I just think it's just smart. It's just smart. And that was done. We have a date. We haven't set the date yet. Zena's working for the water safety.
Yeah, we're most likely be the second week of December.
Second week of December.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discussion around our waterways, and we're setting up a workshop so that we can, review and what I call either revalidate, whether or not we want the practices that we have out there, or if they need to be more enforced. We wanted to change things. I'll give you a perfect example. Whether it's if you've got a power boat, or particularly if you have kayaks or smaller boats, there's two areas that are real safety issues. And if you look down at there's what I call the hairpin turn as you come around, towards Harbor Martinique, where boats and jet skis fly. I mean, Grand Prix's got nothing on these guys. Highly dangerous. I'm really worried that we're going to have an accident. The other side is, as you come across the cut of the peninsula, people are so much wanting to get into to the cove that they pull a huge wake, and that's in a residential area where people have private boats that are sitting there, and you just get damage. So, things around, wake, no wake, buoys. We're going to really review a lot of that to make sure, because I particularly believe that Party Cove is, while I love that people want to come in, it is still part of our neighborhood, residential area, and having 8 boats, like a single boat, and then somebody powering one boat, and they're doing circles out there with all the, sometimes there's 40, 50 boats out there. It's just highly dangerous. We just got to get our hands around that. And so there's going to be a review of soup to nuts, all of our waterway type ordinances to see that we're doing the right thing. And that's going to come up second week, because now it's the slow time. We just come through our seasonal time, and now it's slow, and that's why we're going to do that. And then we accepted the resignation, and of Nathan Bird. We're going to miss him, even though he's got really, really good reasons why the family needs to go back up to Michigan. I believe everything that we set out to say as to the strength strengths and the character of the individual that we wanted as city manager is represented in this gentleman. And I think we picked the right person, and I just am sorry that you've got family things that have, that's calling you back to Michigan, and rightfully so.
I appreciate that.
So his last day is going to be December 22nd. He's staying here just to help smooth over transition. But that Friday before the holidays, we said he's, with all the family things that he's going on, that he needs to be up there and not worrying about down here, and to take care of his family. And that's kind of what we did. That's kind of a quick, synopsis of our city council and the things going on. But if anybody has any questions.
I do. What is going on with the charter committee? I mean, there's nothing on the calendar.
Yeah,
It's another meeting that has to be set this month. And we've got 6 months to do their review
Right,
and
I'm
make their
aware of the
recommendations, and we're 2 weeks into, or 2.5 weeks into it. It's another meeting that needs to be scheduled, as well as the one the mayor talked about. We're still hoping to still have one this month to kick it off. And then they'll probably set a schedule after their initial meeting between now and April.
Okay, I'm just, because of,
you're right, Paul. I mean,
based
Right.
on what you have said, Mr. Mayor, about your priorities and how important this is. And I'm
It is.
going, well, I've watched the months dwindle, and yes, we're going to have a
so
meeting.
let me say something to that first, is that we took a action on council because when we originally set it up, there's not a whole lot of guidance as when the actual 6 months start, other than we created it. We did a resolution that said we're going to start the 6 month period November 1st. So we're still in the same month, but I'm with you. We said we wanted to have things as quickly as possible, to do that. Some of it is just getting everybody. There's six people on the charter review.
Right.
And again, just for some of the others, every 5 years, the city council is required to have a charter review, that any changes in looking at our charter that goes on the ballot, all the citizens have to affirm by a majority vote that they want to have the changes defined by the charter review committee. And I'm going to say there's going to be probably a lot, because Austin has gotten very, and I'm going to take it. You did it. You pushed it. Austin's being very aggressive in trying to control local events, and which means some of our charter is going out of date every time they meet in special session. Something new comes out of there that we have to do. I'll give you an example. Just they're even trying to they did restrict so that curfews have to be standard no matter what location, whether you're the 3rd Ward, Nassau Bay, Lubbock, Texas, El Paso, whether it's residential or industrial or whatever, all has to be the same. We have no discretion as to how to say when a curfew should be done or not. And that, to me, is about as stupid can be, and goes counter to my view of local versus federal powers. That is a local decision. And our charter, we're going to have to do some things, and even some of the things that I said that, and I'll do a plug. The whole issue around Smokies, which was a vape, which was basically selling things that are made from the same molecular materials as THC for marijuana and stuff like that. Crack pipes, all the things like that. Even how do you get away from being tested positive? They have the masking things, range of stuff. We have what's called a specific use permit, which allows the council to let me back up one more, I'm going real fast. We have different zones in our city, and we have defined in that zoning what are the businesses that should be in those zones. And if you deviate from that zoning, you need to have a specific use permit per our charter, our business, so that, the city council can decide whether or not, if it runs contrary to the setup, whether or not that should be allowed in the city or not. The things coming out of Austin want to be able to be very prescriptive. That takes away that power for us. And if that power, had been, we would not have had a specific use permit. We would not have been able to stop. Wanted to make sure it didn't, because it was located. They wanted to locate 20 yards from substance abuse clinic, which is about as crazy can be.
And
So
does that mean we wouldn't have a special use permit for
It would
things like
not.
pawn
And-
shops
and-
and sexually oriented
and
businesses?
quite honestly, I am gonna fight that. And I've made mention of this to our citizens, that if they ever try to take that away, we're not gonna take it off our books, and it's gonna be a fight, because I believe we would prevail on a overreach of state power for a local decision. May mean we spend some money, but I think we got a little bit of money to be able to do that, and I think they would have to spend a whole lot more than us, but I would, for us to be able to decide that. I think it's that important to our community, because it even goes into things like, and these are real issues, folks. Call your senators, call your House of Representatives.
Right.
They're even trying to put standard densification, so that if you look at, our property, you've got a certain plat, they're pretty uniform, but if you use the densification language that the state wants to put in, they say we're not dense enough. See, the Austins, the Houstons, the Dallases, the San Antonios are trying to battle high property values, that's the unaffordability index. And they said the way you fight that is to allow more densification, that the zoning around how things have been done are creating the lack of the ability to be more dense, to have more homes, which more supply supposedly says would bring your prices down. Well, not for us. If you look at it,
So that means that those empty lots that we have around the neighborhood could have 4 houses on them. Is that
it would
correct?
mean any lot, whether you have, currently built out, and we're primarily a built out. So I'm more worried about the ones that are already built, would allow anybody to put a third structure
All the way up to the curb, right?
all the way up to the curb, a third structure. And a lot of times those are used for our neighborhood, not for long-term type of things where people are renting out that as an apartment. They're using it as short-term rentals and having people coming in and doing things. And I just, I don't believe the state should be looking at changing a character of a community that's been built out for 60 years because they're trying to do densification in a place called Austin or Dallas or whatever. That is a local issue. And the reason I say that is they almost passed in the state legislature. Watch these special sessions, because it only failed by one vote. One vote. So I've upped my vocal visibility. I've been talking to people, and I really want to make sure that everybody understands that those are real issues, and to make sure you contact your representative in Congress to say, stop it, just stop it. Don't do it. Wouldn't be prudent
In
at this juncture.
State legislature. Right?
State legislature. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, you pushed my button.
No problem at all.
You can tell I have some real
We're
energy
the
on that.
same page.
I am so upset.
I talk to our representative when he's in town, almost every
Yeah.
Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know, get the lay of the land.
Again, people know what I do. I get on my soapbox. I get soapy. This is not what founding fathers of our country did. They wanted for these decisions to be locally controlled. And I don't know what's going on in Austin that's trying to take this authority away from us. And I'm against it. And I think it's dumb. So
I have a question. Did you have a question?
Well, yeah, I'm oblivious citizen, and so I didn't know that this was even on the table
It
in
is.
Austin. And so how would that word get back to us so that we could raise hell with our senators and our congressmen in Austin and even in DC?
Yeah,
How
so
do we,
you'd have to contact your representative, so that would be
But
like
is there-
Go
Dennis,
online and
Dennis
say
Paul.
like, who is my representative? Dennis
Yeah,
Paul and Mays
Dennis
Middleton.
Paul,
is
Or
there?
for us, Dennis
well,
Paul and Mays Middleton.
Mays Middleton.
Go email them and tell them you do not want
Right.
densification.
Well,
You want the local cities to
Those
have
are the
power.
two, those would be the two most influential
for
people
those of
for
you
us.
with the inside track to know what the agenda is, how could that be shared
I'll-
with?
I'll tell you about it if you wanna,
Yeah.
I do, and
No,
I'm
but-
sure others in the neighborhood and in the community would like to know that as well.
you can get it from me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, to me, it needs to be organized. I'm gonna get as a representative on a committee that was by Texas Municipal League in order to be able to have this voice sent to, because that's one of the main lobbying groups, for the House and the governor's office. I didn't even do
You should
Greg
invite
Abbott.
them to your next
you
state
know?
of the city.
I probably so, because in my mind, there can't be enough communication here.
Right.
Can't be enough.
Can we
So,
put
yeah.
something, a very simple version of that in the Compass Rose?
We just sent it out, but I think we have time, maybe, the next one's gonna be a holiday one. But
We just keep doing it?
maybe do it in a mayor's message, because if people I've been trying to
Yeah.
I've been trying to do
I like
a
having your
letter
mayor's
from the
message.
mayor, just because I'm trying to elevate the things that are really impactful to our citizens, not
Do it into
rigmarole.
January even.
Yeah, like where you had the
Past
handout
holidays.
page.
Correct. And it's, and we can set up some things and maybe even have, infrastructure around a form letter or whatever. You like to do is get on a list and then have our authorization to be able to send something, but it's that important. It really is. I can't stress enough how important this is, so.
And we're updating our website, so certainly we can capture some of the information on our website and make people.
And just so people, this is Councilwoman Paula Tomasi and Councilwoman Lucy Sommer, who's joined here, and previous
Parks
councilwoman
here now.
person, Michelle Weller. So,
I did have a question though. I know we had voted for and everything was put through for tearing down the monument, and I thought it was supposed to happen the 3rd or 4th of November. Do we have an update?
we thought it was in November. We had to work with TechStot in order, but you may have
Do
a
you have an
better.
update on that?
Yeah, we sent the contractor all of the specs, everything that's inside of it. And we're waiting for them to schedule the meeting that we want. Just it needs to be on site, but that meeting will happen.
I'm sure something has happened that impacted it. Is the company's owner is the Lee family, and the Lee family, for people who are part of Lutheran South Academy, their son died very tragically and just had a funeral. He was in a football game, and I think he scored a touchdown. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I've heard this. He used to be my next door neighbor, and their son got up and took 2 steps and just collapsed. And usually those are things like with a heart, but apparently he got knocked on the head as he was trying to score points, and it hit it the very wrong way, and he created an embolism, and he never recovered and passed away, not too, 2 weeks
Well,
ago.
I was asking because
It's his company
everybody's
that's
asking
doing the
me about
demolition.
doing the next palm tree and / landscaping,
Mhm.
NASA Road 1 revitalization meeting, and I was gonna wait for that to be gone, and then we talk about what's replacing it, so
So just,
we'll probably be like
and again,
January.
so this is the monument across from the Hilton on NASA Road 1 as you're coming across from the bridge from, Seabrook, Taylor, Spate, yeah, and it's right there on the right. And it's, I think this makes this the best route to go. It's like capped at $15,000 to take the whole thing down. And it was to do just partial fixing of it. We didn't even, because the whole light board broke on it, so it was like strobing. And TxDOT as well as NASA asked us to shut it down. So we probably had $35,000-$40,000 just to repair it. It wouldn't even have the lights going up. So we're taking it down. It never was. Well, I think from the people who had designed it, it never really looked like what they had thought. There's been quite a number of two very specific descriptions, which I won't say on the public record. But it also is so tall, we can't even put "Welcome to Nassau Bay" on it. It's too tall. And we always wanted to have entryways to know when you're in Nassau Bay. So it's coming down. And as soon as Nathan and Paul can coordinate with the contractor, like I said, they've been out there, they scoped it, they've got all the specifications, and I think it's imminent.
And you are keeping the electrical that was put in, so a
No
good chunk of the
question.
money
No
that was put
question.
into the original statue is staying,
Yeah,
which is that infrastructure for the
infrastructure.
electrical. So when we
Correct.
put in the new sign, which we have a vendor that we've been working with, I don't want to bring them in until we tear down the other one, and then they can tell us
So-
what they can do as a new one that's gonna look something we can all be proud of.
back around 2000, 2001, we actually had a landscape designer and things like that, and we wanted to have, all the landscaping out there to be uniform, which is why you saw those majestic bejeweled trees, and we've lit them up. We're gonna be putting in 20, 10 on either side on the east and west to get those backlit. So we'll have about a little more than a third of the tree that used to be, but died during the freeze. We've got freeze resistant trees, much better, which is why they survived this last go around last winter. But we really wanted people to know when you're in Nassau Bay, kind of like the uptown, midtown, downtown, and those trees are part of it, but so were the entrances, and they were supposed to be matching on both sides. So I think this takes down a piece that just didn't turn out like anybody wanted, and it can go back to that master plan where we have, matching landscaping, matching everything. So
And looks like the
it's-
upscale nautical
Yeah.
community.
Yep.
When are those other 40 trees going in?
Well, you have to buy them first. So
Okay,
we're
well,
putting
when
out
we
a
buy
bid
them,
like we
Mayor.
did last year. So.
When are you buying?
Well, we said we
Don't
wanted
they
to be
have
in
to
by December. This
Wanted to be in
hasn't
by
changed.
December? Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
it hasn't changed.
Just in time.
Want to say thanks for holding this meeting. We're new to the community. The fall sweep was really great way to participate
enjoyed
in
it. It was
that.
lots of
So,
fun.
Why don't you introduce yourself so everybody knows?
I'm Aaron. This is my son Ryan. We live.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, we moved in around Barbuda and King Street, one house
Yeah.
up from that corner of the White
Sure.
House. And just the fall sweep was great. Just felt good to kind of do something in community.
It was
make
just
new.
wonderful to see everyone out and caring. I was really moved by it.
Yeah.
So that was a
So-
wonderful thing.
So in the past 2 years, we have pulled 5,000 dead plants.
Wow.
5,000, and
That's
we've
amazing.
planted about 4,200. So you can see the color back into our city.
Yeah.
We still have all the planting that needs to be done up on Nass Road 1, which is going to hopefully come this year. But it used to have all sorts of end caps that were down through there, and there's some that still have dead plants, which I wanted to cycle back with Paul and see if we can get those pulled.
Yeah.
But the first phase was to pull all the dead.
Yeah.
It was prettier just because, like I used to, it's a funny how it's because of an absence of dead. It looks better. And now we put in quite a number of plants. So the town's looking like it's colorful again.
Really quick question. Really enjoy walk down Barbuda. Then there's a cut through to, is it David Braun Park where it's the basketball?
Yeah, correct.
And stuff. There's like some black lighting there that doesn't light up at night.
You mean those
Maybe-
solar lamps?
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
super
geez.
dark, when we walk back through there. And I don't know if maybe they worked at Wonders, maybe if those. might
It's
be looking-
where's it at exactly?
It's right there at
So,
the
you know where
entrance,
Hockey
right
Park
there.
is? I guess it's called Founders Park.
Founders Park, right there at the entrance.
The basketball court.
So right before the basketball court or on the
Like at the
path?
spillway. On the path.
Yeah, so-
Spillway, yeah.
This is-
Black lighting and, yeah, they just,
You-
they don't seem
I
to
was
want.
like,
to-
Little Did you know that 2 million debacle from
really?
it's just, it was the first attempt to do solar.
Okay.
And there's two things that's there is, the chamber that is there for the solar, panels gets completely swamped by bugs. The other is I understand that the Logic has done it where they actually come on during the day rather than the night. And I was out there and saw, hey, whoops. And just quite honestly, my priority with the monies, we just have not, fixed them because if you and go there and then even go out to, towards the ball fields, you'll see they line the whole river
Yes,
and they go all the way out to the peninsula.
right.
And it's not a one, yeah. Did you, I'm with you. It's something here that we actually, plug for the previous councils, they actually went back and I think they got $1 million from the vendor because they never worked as they thought. They were never as Mount of Lumen that we wanted, and they were always in need of maintenance. So it's not an easy one to unring here. So we've got to clean them out and we got to reprogram them, and that's money.
Yeah, no, well, hey, everything else is great. We love it here, and just a very special, unique community. We just live up on Kirby and Westheimer.
Yeah.
So we're looking for someone more.
Yep. Yeah, there's Holiday in the Park coming up.
Yes,
Oh,
we're gonna
very
take my
good.
son to it, yeah.
And there's a boat parade.
I don't know if I've heard that one yet.
About
The
that
boat
one.
parade is
So
really cool.
so there'll be, and I'm gonna make sure of it this time. So there's a thing called the Mayor's Cup. And this young kid Les started with the Mayor's Cup back in like 2000 or whatever. And we put money in it because we hadn't dredged yet. So people, if they were wanting to bring their boats with lights on and stuff like that, we wanted to, give them money in order, in case they sludged their in, and that worked is now we've dredged, so it's there, but we get anywhere from 25 to 35 boats that start here in Nassau Bay. We have a ranking where we give them a trophy plus money depending on the winners. And then they hook up with the folks coming out of South Shore Harbor that want to start there as it goes towards the Kima Boardwalk.
Oh, that's fun.
And you'll see close to 40 boats between what comes off South Shore that just lined on the lake, and they start right here back in our cove.
Can you, should we advertise
December
it on
9th.
that?
It is. It's already.
It's already on the
It's
Facebook.
it is.
Well, I don't know, just to do it
And
once
the
a week or
Compass
something,
Rose. It's in the
Nathan,
Compass
so that way
Rose too.
people can get reminded on the Facebook.
Okay.
Then it's going to be.
It'll be on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can advertise it on the
And
Facebook,
then
and I have a
it'll be the
Facebook
boat
page called the
Wow,
Skyline.
everything's on the same day,
It's a
okay,
regional event.
Oh, cool.
that's very
Yeah.
neat.
Clear Lake Chamber is sponsoring this, so
Awesome.
you can
Yep.
look on their website.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Can I ask, one last question, just out of curiosity. Next to that Hilton, I don't know if that's in our city limits or not.
It is.
Looks like they're trying to, they have some bulldozers out there.
Yeah, they're
curious.
putting upscale condos right there. So they're townhouses, so they're not gonna be really tall.
Okay.
And just so you know that they're putting that a little bit on hold because the Hilton's looking at definitively renovating their whole building in 2024.
Okay.
And that includes redevelopment along the waterfront. So he's kind of waiting to see those plans to say whether or not they can tie into it as a boardwalk, do the things that integrate with what's going. But there's 14, yeah,
700,000.
yeah,
Water,
14, yeah.
Started $700,000.
$750,000, 3,000 square foot townhomes that are gonna go right there.
And that's
Was there a
private.
pier there before? Looks like there might.
Yes, there
have been.
was.
But they want to redevelop that maybe? Is
They're
that
going to.
Hilton? Oh,
They're going to, all that's gonna get redeveloped.
Yeah.
It all got ruined in.
So
whatever.
that area is where they used to bring in the Saturn. If you come back to our main conference room back there, I can show you where it looks. That area used to be where they would barge in the big Saturn V in order to construct that. And there's a floodway that was right through there that would allow you to get it into there where, yeah, that's,
How fun is
so much-
that?
and how fun is that, right? I can show you it. It's really neat.
The history of this town is so cool. I mean, we had a couple of our neighbors back in the seventies were astronauts, like Mike Cernan, with the last one to go to the moon.
Yep.
A couple doors down.
So
Just amazing
I'll
history.
do another plug for our Parks and Recreation, and it's something we did as council too, is, I don't know if you know it, but if you go out in the front here, there's moon trees.
Okay.
There's some at the park too.
Yes.
And there's two at the park.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is to make it like the Walk of the Astronauts, but I've
The
even heard
moonwalk.
it, now I hear it's called the moonwalk.
It was always the
Where
moonwalk.
we're going to every year extend it, and the thought is, and I don't wanna steal the thunder, there's two very, very, obvious candidates who used to be, citizens here who are still alive from back in the Mercury and the Apollo program, that, we're going to plant 2 more moon trees. And Nassau Bay, not only are we the city that's had the most astronauts living in its city limits than any other city in the world, we are now when we get these 2, we'll be the largest recipient of moon trees of any other location in the world. And we're planning on extending it. And I'm stealing thunder here from over here, but we're looking at extending it for hopefully every astronaut that ever lived in our city,
So those
that would
seeds actually
have
go
a
to the
moon
moon.
tree
That's why they're
dedicated to
called
them
the
along a stretch down there, which is on the river and on the walkway.
Over the years.
Yes,
they
and there's a
just
You need
foundation
to
replant
explain
them.
what a moon tree is and why.
So if you look back here, if you really want to see these plaques, these 2 plaques. So Rosemary Rusa, who was the daughter of Stu Rusa, for Apollo 14, I
He was the
believe.
first one to take the seeds. to
He was a forester before he was an astronaut. And he was actually a forest fire, jumper. He would jump out and they would parachute into the places and then do all the digging in order to keep it, things like that.
Yeah.
Really big trees. So in his personal effects that they allow to take up, he took up something like 700, 5 different varieties of seeds, because back then they didn't know what weightlessness and things. So when they went up to the moon and came back, he had these 700 trees or seedlings, which, became the moon trees. And
Apollo 14.
Yeah, Apollo 14.
And who was on Apollo 14 with him? Ed
So,
Mitchell.
yeah, correct.
Oh, very cool.
So we had 2 people who were on Nassau Bay for that, that went up there. So yeah, if you want to show your son, we have 2 varieties. Up here is the sycamores that are right here between us and the Courtyard Marriott, and there's monuments out there you can see, as the loplolly pines that are down by the creek or the river, and or the view is that's probably not going to be a place for sycamores, because if we ever get a hurricane, which we will, the salinity in the brine would be very hard on a sycamore. And the last thing I want to do is be a mayor that caused the killing of a moon tree. That's how you kill a mayor,
And then we're trying to do a whole theme around, the space program in that park. So that's called the Moonwalk. We're gonna name the dog park Apollo Dog Park, and then eventually we might have like the Artemis baseball field, and we're gonna put more. We're going to do we're gonna do a rocket ship splash pad in David Braun Park.
Wow.
And
Yes.
paint
So one of the
all that.
things as new to the community is what they're talking about and you know this better than anybody. So Lucy is not only on city council, but she's our rocket scientist. She actually works over in the
actually a rocket
Johnson. She's a rocket scientist. Okay.
Works on Artemis. She worked on the Artemis program.
Right? I'm just a lowly chemist. She's a rocket scientist, so, they're looking at establishing a lunar residence and a marsh, where they mimic the environment. And I'm talking, these are like 50 acres. I mean,
They're gonna each be the size of like a track around a football field, so inside
Correct.
that area for each one.
yeah, I mean, they're gonna be
At NASA?
right up center Houston.
It's gonna be where the Longhorns are.
Yes.
Okay.
On the
Yeah.
half field there.
Wow.
And they're tying it in, what they want to do is their Space Center Houston has moved their vision from just being kind of an entertainment historian to actually a technology and innovator. And they're creating these systems that are going to tie in with like CC, University of Texas, Texas A&M, different places around where there'll actually be people living in these environments because it's for the sole purpose of preparing for manned habitation. Really cool.
So it's in a dome.
It's in like a dome. Yeah.
It'll be a really, so that actually the funding from this is coming from the state of Texas.
It is.
So through Texas A&M, who's the anchor tenant, they're the one that's gonna be managing the building. It's gonna have, basically, there's two sides. The current plan is to have those people and companies and people can come in and live and work and do the things that we need to do, but it's not inside the gates of NASA, so it's not just there'll still be security to get in that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it's not just restricted to what we can do on site. It'll be open and more, help the local space industry, the whole industry.
And one of the things here, and this is just like we had all the participation back in like the Apollo program, they're now gearing up for the Artemis program. And, we just had Artemis 1, gearing for Artemis 2,
When does Artemis 2 go, Lucy?
2025.
It's 2024, I thought.
2024.
But it's not manned. But it's the next one to go around. Manned, going around the
Oh, yeah,
moon?
it's going to,
That's so exciting.
yeah.
We used to have launch parties here back in the day. We're gonna try and revisit that. and bring it
So
back.
that's what we're looking, so just so you, when we did the moon trees, Spivey came and spoke, who now is head of the whole.
He does, mission outreach.
But he went over, and I had never heard in detail, there's like eight missions that are already paid for, they're aligned for the Artemis program.
We're testing engines for Artemis 4 in my building. right
Yeah,
now.
so the whole program is geared to man to live or get to and live on a celestial body other than Earth. So
Yeah, so.
this is,
I could go into a whole side.
I know, but this is really cool. And now it means they're gearing up. We're a city that's there. We're kind of rediscovering or really go back to our history, and we're trying to tie into the spacing, because I want to see us do launch parties and things along that, have things along that line. I want us to, because that's how the community comes together. And what better thing to have kids come and have stuff where everybody's celebrating a launch to settle the moon. It's cool. I mean, it's just cool.
That's really exciting stuff.
Can I ask two more just very small
Sure.
questions? We're trying to wrap up.
Sorry.
One last.
These always go long.
First off, thanks for the access. This is really, really cool, by the way. The nature trail that takes, this is like a dumb question probably, but it says it locks at sunrise or sunset. So we have to make sure we're out. It's actually really, I just want to never get trapped in there.
We're always stressed when we're in
When
there
we're in
about
there.
worrying about the door lock.
Does that actually, does that get
You could always
actually?
It does,
You can
because
always call
what we
the
do is,
non-emergency police
we
line.
keep kids from going out there on ladders and stuff like that, because they'll tear it
They
up.
can always
It's just
call
that
the
winter
non-emergency police number, and
Correct.
our police, we have our own police, will go
And
over
we
there
don't
and let
plan
you
on
know.
doing that.
But hear, so if you got your
It's
cell
true.
phone, and
It's
just say
true.
for whatever
Right.
reason,
It's
you went out there, you kicked your feet up, you slept, and all of a sudden, it's locked, if you do the 4211,
Okay,
the non-emergency police, they'll come and unlock it for you.
okay.
Yeah, and we have our own.
Plan
And we
on-
don't plan on doing it.
I get
it,
But it's funny, I quote stuff from my dad. It's like, you never want to be in a situation where you wish you had an option, right? Well, there's your option.
That's the nice thing about our neighborhood is the police right there, they'll be there in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of our house, and
On
I
a
called
Sunday.
a non-emergency line, and literally the police were there 5
Police
minutes. I've
officer.
never
Yeah.
seen this in my life.
So we have
Oh
a,
my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
so let me, you knew, this is really, and people who've been here a while know this, is that's why we incorporated back in 1970.
Mhm.
If you look at Houston, what do you call it, annex of Clear Lake City that used to be county. And when they did that, everybody saw the writing on the wall that they're gonna come down here. So if you look at all these little cities that are around here, they all incorporated at a similar time. I think Nassau Bay was one of the first. But,
Webster was trying to get us first.
yeah, Webster was trying to get us first.
I know the
That
history
you're
well.
right. You're
I
absolutely,
scan all of the history
yeah.
of this city
Oh,
as a project
Yeah.
for John Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
Past manager.
I had just retired and Pat approached me and asked if I would. be
Fantastic.
willing
Pat
to
Jones,
do this.
former
Yeah.
city secretary,
Oh,
fabulous woman,
Absolutely.
fabulous woman.
And I spent a number of hours here. For me, it was fascinating. Going through this history, the deep, dark meetings at night.
Yeah.
The 6-line secretarial notes for a meeting that said, we met, we discussed, and I'm not kidding you, you can go back and you will see exactly that. Won't tell you what they discussed.
Yeah, correct.
But the meeting ended 4.5 hours later.
Yeah. It's because they fell asleep.
Very good.
But no, just, so NASA set up, when the Johnson, when manned space flight is, this used to be like just nothing out here. And that's what they wanted back then, because there was no satellites or anything to do coverage.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to see somebody coming, right? Or be able to see anybody activity. But, so we have a hospital, we had our own police, we had our own EMS, we had our own water system, all the things like, so even though we're only, less than 2 square miles and we have everything of a big city in our little town.
No, I love how small
Right.
you are.
And
It's amazing.
what's great is when we incorporated, it was all based on the fact that we did not want to be in the poor service standards that Houston had, because we liked ours. And one of them, just like you said, our average release or EMS is like less than 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't expect anyone to show up. I was just like trying to.
I go-
record it, and
I
next
go-
thing I know, the cop is in front of my house calling the animal control. I'm like, hey, where have this?
I was part of an active shooter conference and things like that. And the guy was up there and I didn't even know about it. And he's like there, he says, well, I'm saying that prepare because not everybody has the 3-minute response time like Nassau Bay. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so.
You might want to add in, since they're new, about the new code enforcement officer. He came to our Queens Court HOA meeting and everybody loved it because they got to, so now if there's code enforcement issues, like
Okay.
if you see somebody that you suspect is a short-term rental.
Or if you see a
something
car
in the
that's
or-
looks like it's inoperable or whatever like that, or if people are leaving boat, particularly, things that are non-operational, just, we have people now to call to specifically
He's
take
done a
that.
great job.
Very cool. My last quick question was, do we know if something might be going in where the Lubies used to be? I know they just vacated, so that's probably a long-term thing, but,
So,
No more fast
oh,
food.
sorry.
yeah, no,
Sorry,
no.
don't want any
So
fast
let
food.
me say this is,
No expectations.
this most recent effort is they were looking at putting in fast food. And that spot, and that Luby's facility is about 12,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And it's too big for anybody to put a restaurant and subdividing it, and then they would have to have, the drive-throughs to enable, fast food.
But we're not gonna do that, are we?
So that's just, we're really looking for doing stuff upscale that we're really trying to hold out.
Okay.
The only issue is that's a vacant property. We've had indigents in that property that we've had to do that I'm very keen to make sure we keep our place safe. So, we're holding out for a better card, but realize that, that's something we've really done. What I was hoping is that, and this is coming back to some of the stuff that was cool, is, there's people in Nassau Bay that are part of a spin-off of technology from NASA, which is, you know, people know like hydroponics, but there's actually technology where you use misting, where you don't have the weight and the volume needed in order to do that. And they have growing stations that are going there, that they have interest in that property also. So I'm hoping we do that. We're also hoping that somebody would be looking to do something upscale, a nicer restaurant
Or grocery store.
or grocery store, or because we're things
Even
there,
a small one.
you know, even a small one,
Yeah.
you know, but,
Just give me a few more months.
the,
and
the,
I think you should.
the Luby's folks are asking $2.4 million for that property.
2.4
Is
million.
that
2.4 million.
Is
You
that
just gotta get the right
right?
developers in.
So
It seems like a premium spot where it is. So.
it is, but we don't want another Wendy's or another McDonald's or another things like that.
No
It's-
fast
That's the
food.
nicest McDonald's I've ever seen in my life, with the moon guy on it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
you gotta like that. Well, that's what, you know, so-
I really, really love, the Java Owl.
yeah,
If that had a more prominent, because it's kind of hidden back there, but it
It
is
is.
always packed and they don't have room. I
Oh,
mean,
you did.
it'd
Yeah,
be great
yeah.
if.
So if you notice if you've been in the Java Owl on the
Yes.
outside,
Yes.
you notice how they're doing a pavilion out through
The little
there?
patio.
Our Economic Development Corporation is helping that because John, the proprietor there, has just made that like, almost like a community center.
Yes.
Yeah.
it
He's
is.
actually really helped out with that whole strip center during COVID to make it through, and all of them did.
Very cool.
And so he's wanting to expand and didn't really have the capital, so we said, if you promise and write down and contractually bind yourself that you're gonna be here for 7 years, we'll help you build out and expand your
Oh,
place.
I'm so glad to hear that.
So that's
because
what-
that is
that's
a
what we
wonderful
did.
place.
That's what we
That's
did.
really great. So,
So,
Great questions.
yeah,
I just want to say that, this is live stream, so if you have people that can't come, they can watch our
Correct.
meetings or our coffees or whatever on the.
It's on the YouTube channel, Nassau Bay TV.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh,
Well, I'll add
Yeah,
that.
go look on
Subscribe
YouTube.
to it.
but
You
there's,
could maybe say that so people.
and this is
I
the
don't know if
first
everybody can
time
hear me.
we've done this on a Saturday morning, and I'm just gonna say there are 6, younger families that don't have the ability to do it during the week,
Yeah.
which was more than I expected on a Thanksgiving kickoff weekend, so.
We'll be back.
I don't think
Really
people
glad.
can hear me. Can you repeat that? If they want to watch this, it's on Nassau Bay Television, like live stream.
Yeah, there's, if you
There's
go,
people watching it right now on YouTube, and I don't know about Facebook.
yeah, what is that?
Well,
what
it goes
is?
on
And then it's
the main
3.
site and then it disappears, so. if you
So-
know
so yeah,
that
a
it's
lot
on
of people
Nassau
know
Bay TV, they
It's
can
called
do that.
Restream, and just to anybody who, and I don't know how they'll see that if they're not watching it now, but if they do, and we keep promoting it, is that these are put up on the city website, as well as there's a couple of Facebook pages that restream it. So you'll be able to see this in its full context.
And you can ask questions, you can submit questions from wherever you are,
Oh,
if you're
really?
watching it.
When you're
So
live, when they're.
That's another,
Yeah.
you can watch the Friday and then maybe submit, but we also have a new calendar that's much easier to follow.
See what's going on.
And so we're trying to add everything to the new calendar, so it's
So
more.
we used to have like the #1 website.
Yes,
But-
my husband was.
I know, that's why I mentioned it, Pauline, that's why I'm, I know my audience.
After we were, Richardson refused to go ahead with another one after that.
But the problem is, we're a product of our success, is that, we were #1, and then we really haven't redone it for 12 years.
Well, unfortunately, you're #1.
I know,
Medical issues.
maybe we can get Mike Magnan to step up too, he's,
Mike would be great because he
Yeah.
and Ken work so well together.
I know, that's why I know those were the dynamic duo.
Mhm.
And Mike Magnan, just so you know, I gotta do a plug for him, is, back early on in the late 1990s and early 2000s, you can tell I'm an old time resident here now. Never thought that would be the case. I was like, with my career, I was going to places, got here, and have been here now almost 30 years. But he was very good with cameras and with production and media. And I think that's his forte, is in his
Well, he
industry.
ran the Nassau Bay TV.
Yeah,
for a
he
long
ran
time.
Nassau Bay TV, and they would go out and do all these,
Interviews.
just whether they were interviews, what I call mini documentaries, just all around city things that you want to know about. He did them in a high quality way. I mean, if you look at them even today, I know we've got them recorded. They're relevant even to, really, really good. And that was Mike and Ken, if I remember. Yeah. Yep.
Then they had a room specifically for the team,
Correct.
for the NASA baby.
They did.
Unlike the old facility, which was, Mike did a lot of work out of his house.
In his basement.
It's still
Which,
here.
yeah.
Can you just mention the council process where we are? We've got applications and.
Yeah,
it's
so,
online.
yeah, that, I didn't do that, so that's a really good segue. For the position number 6, which is opened as of November 8th, the charter requires city council that they have 30 days if they're going to elevate somebody to take that unfulfilled portion of that council position. There will be an election first, we're talking about a 6-month period, 7-month period of time remaining on that term. If we don't do that, then it has to go to an election. And right now, everybody on council does not want to do, there's some talk about whether it's a special election, just a normal, but we really want to elevate somebody in that position. There were 8 people who have been considered for the position, so we got a very broad response for things. And I don't mind mentioning who they are. I did it before. It's you have Brian Brown, Brian Clock, you have Ashley Graves, Ashley Klug. For some reason, Brian's and Ashley's are popular. You have Haley Uhl or Yule. I apologize for the pronunciation. Charles, no, I said Ashley Graves. Charles Pulliam, as well as David and Chris, either one of David or Crystal Pollerstock. In the council charged with me for those people there to make sure that they were truly committed to not only, for the time necessary for the remaining term, but also that they would be committed to run in May. The Pollerstocks, both of them said even now it's just bad timing for them. Well, I don't go into the specifics, but they said no. We're honored that we're considered, but they withdrew theirs. So we have 6 people remaining. We had wanted to try to get everybody together for a question and answering like we did with Nathan when he was here, so that people and the citizens could see that. Little did we know, we went right into Thanksgiving holiday people's schedule. We were thinking we were going to do here on the 20th, which is the day after tomorrow. We'd have 6 people here and there. We passed that on the 13th. So this past Monday, went and talked to everybody, and 4 of the 6 are not able to be a part of that. So that's not going to work. There's people who are on vacation during the week of the 20th. And there's people who are leaving like just before Thanksgiving for the week afterwards. The only time that we can get everybody together is the week of December 4th, which is really too late. So that's a long-winded saying that we've got a special meeting on Monday that we got to figure out exactly what it is. And it may be that we just have individual people and the individual council people talk to them offline in order to get more of a background if there's any questions. And then we're obviously going to have another special meeting before, probably during the week of the 27th to look at it. I just don't want to wait till the last week because I don't want to mandate into an election. I think we're smarter, better than that. So
You can input to your council member or to the mayor.
Absolutely.
The meeting where the potential candidates were going to be was going to be open to the public so that you could hear them with their responses and as the council asked them questions. But because the 30-day
and the
timeline,
Thanksgiving holiday
it gets
in
harder
between.
and harder, but we're still wanting citizen input, and we
Fair
now
enough.
have made public a number of times the
Fair enough,
names
Paul.
of
Yeah.
the people.
I would like to say something since it's my position that's being replaced. Okay, the people that voted for me voted for the things that, for example, I know there's at least 3 or 4 people that are on that list that you just gave that are in favor of more apartments. I was against more apartments. That's probably one of the main reasons why I got elected. Number 2, there's at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 people on that list that wanted either the smoke shop or some of the other things. Ashley Graves was in favor of the Unified Development Committee and the densification. I was totally against it. So, for just the council that's sitting there, I mean, I know most of them, well, 4 of them at least, were in agreement with what I wanted, the space program being promoted. I know that some people are against it. People told me when I went around and knocked on the doors that they wanted that statue to come down. I know Ashley Graves wants that statue and Brian Brown wants that statue going in. So I think that I'm surprised that we're just gonna be interviewing these people and not considering who elected me and why they elected.
Well, let me just cut the chase. Well, first of all, you don't have.
But I mean,
But second
but
is.
honor the citizens.
No,
who
but
voted
second
for
is, as well as I do, if there was one person who knocked on more doors than you, it was me.
Yep.
So I know a good thing here, and I'm gonna vote of the people who have the things that I feel will be most representative of the city. And I don't mind, I've told this to other people, at least my criteria is gonna be, I want a young family that has kids, who hasn't served before, so that we encourage people who have come here. I believe the city has had more young families come into our city than any other time since just when me and my family came in, because we're getting a turnover and those people have to be represented. So, and not only that, we've got to train people who to be up there, because it's not as easy as you think, as coming up there is in doing that. So, to me, and I'll say this is, you've got more energy than probably anybody I've ever met to get stuff done. The thing that I want to make sure is that we get the right representation up here, so that we get the things done that we need to get done, because we've got $20 million of infrastructure improvements that we've got to do over the next 18, 24 months. And there are things that are part of that everybody says, like here, of things that were important to you. I think they were important to several people.
But not some of the people on that list.
Well, but I'm not going to get personal like that. I think right now it is their day to council why they should be there. And it's council's job to be able to decipher whether or not that's appropriate. And they are going to be, 4 of them are going to be up for election. So if they make a mistake, you can come at them at that point. So that's called our electoral process. I believe in it strongly.
And with that, I think we're done. So
Almost.
You guys can go on with your lives.
So anyways, any last questions? Because these usually go on a little bit further.
No, you answered them all. Thank you. Just
Yep.
once again, appreciate the access.
Yeah.
Really great.
And what is your name?
My name is Lori Tollett.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm good. I've lived here about 13 months, and I love it.
Well, where do you live?
I live in Sapphire Apartments.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
So that was getting my foot in the door here to make sure, I would want to be here long term.
That'll work.
And I will, yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it.